Flashback 11.5 Moral Turpitude or Moral Right. We were all inside Tiny's van. Katie's eyes were teary and watery. She said, "We may have killed 1,000 people today. 1,000 people!" she cried. She continued, "How can God want so many people to die? And for what? For you to have a dagger that can make fire? Maybe it's all about God and the devil and heaven and hell. But how can 1,000 people murdered be good? God may work in mysterious ways, but this seems beyond mysterious. Are we the bad guys? Richard, are we the bad guys?" She started to sob in self-doubt. Katie then added, as she was sobbing away, "And we never found Brocco McDema. We found no clues. What did we do? What did we accomplish?" She started spiraling into sorrow and lamentation and just self-persecution. Bob muttered slightly under his breath, but audible to all, "Where in the world is Brocco McDema?" I think he was trying to be funny. It didn't really work for the team. Everyone was just too tense. I tried to address Katie's sadness myself. "Katie, remember, there is no hell for the righteous." I stressed, even the good people that we have encountered have done terrible and evil things. They may not have been 100% evil, but they had evil within. They had what happened to them coming to them. Bob said, "They deserved to die. They earned the right to die by helping the devil. Come on," he exacerbated. "If you work with the devil, you kinda deserve to die. You're not good if you work with the devil." Soldier Taylor joined in. "This is war. We cannot look back onto the battlefield, else we will be unable to fight forward towards victory." Sarah looked emphatically towards Katie. "God is our judge. No one else. Be true to God, and you will be forgiven. It is hard until you give yourself completely to God and His will, and submit freely to His tests." Sarah suggested, "Perhaps this is a test of faith for all of us. We must not lose focus of God's mission quest and let consequences like these prevent us from pursuing God's goals." Sarah continued, "We were blessed by heaven at the round table. We are the Knights Templar. We are just. We fight for God. We are not wrong. Katie, we are the good guys," she emphasized. And I added, "We did more than get the dagger back. Sure, we did not learn a whole lot about Brocco or the Tapestry of Baal, but we saved humanity. We stopped Bill Gates' companies from creating and deploying DNA-changing, brain-controlling, energy-co-opting technologies. We stopped a major assault on humanity. I declared, think of all the pandemic crazy. This was 3 times that or worse." As to the event, digital and physical newspapers and TV newscasts all covered the destruction of the 3 major Bill Gates investments in Prague. They described the destruction as acts of terrorism by an organized criminal syndicate heralded out of some mob group out of the Ukraine capital city, Kiev. Sarah said, "Well, God has seen fit to mask our activity. We were right, she asserted and comforted herself and the team. And she said again, we were right. Well, there we were, the end of Prague and our adventure in it. We had stopped the world-dominating trifecta of evil within Prague. With the end of the cult 3 Prague companies that were poised to execute Operation Bill Gates to Hell, and having retrieved the dagger of choice and destiny from Prion Biotech, not from Muon Energy, after all, we were done in Prague. We decided to return to the States for a month or so, and resolve personal and local things that may have accumulated in our absence. And Bob needed medical attention for the gunshot wound in the calf of his leg. It was a long flight with a lot of refueling, but eventually we were back in Seattle. We were back in the States. After finishing housekeeping tasks, paying bills, etc., I went to visit my daughter Amanda in Santa Barbara. That is where, unfortunately, I encountered a senior citizen couple being mugged, and I interceded, which resulted in the thugs dying at my hand in self-defense. However, I was judged wrongfully as guilty of murdering the man. And you know the tale from there to here. I ended up pleading insanity to save my life from very likely being a wrongful conviction of murder. I think this ends this portion of my story. And it brings us to reality. Dr. Garcia's iPad window flashed and he spoke, "Richard, your tale in Prague, it sounds like a horror film setting, but with high technology and thugs instead of undead and vampires. And somehow, the international breaking of laws and mass murder, destruction of property and buildings resulted in only a news story of 3 companies destroyed by terrorism. This all seems implausible. I think, Richard, you have, as they say, jumped the shark or jumped the couch on this one. It is just beyond any sane story. I'm sorry. I want so much to believe in your saga, but it is simply fantasy and untrue." Dr. Caselli interrupted. "Okay, so if we are all caught up now, Richard, in your current timeline, then let's focus on your memories in our next sessions. I was dismissed and taken to my room by an orderly."